we're continuing with geometric sequences. Remember, geometric sequences are when it's adding the same number every time. This is called the explicit formula. We talked about recursive formula on the last video. So explicit formula is this. Okay, where G1 represents the first term, just like in the last one. N represents the number you're looking for. And R is the common ratio. That is the number being multiplied. Okay, so let's write down the formula to start with. Okay, now we're going to plug in our numbers. There's no simplifying to this one like there is in arithmetic. We just plug in the numbers. So we are looking for the 10th term. Typo there, but we're looking for the 10th term. So the first term in the sequence is 8. The ratio, we have to figure out the ratio that's happening. So remember, to find the ratio, you take the second number divided by the first number. So that is our ratio of -3. So I'm going to do 8 times -3 to the n is 10. The number we're looking for is 10. I want to simplify that. We'll be doing 8 times -3 to the, looks like 9th power. 10 minus 1 is 9. Okay, so let's see. 8. Okay, button sec, -3 to the 9th power equals -157,464. So a little bit easier than arithmetic because there's no simplifying. You just have to know this is the formula and what the numbers mean to plug in there. This is your first term. The little 1 is your first term. This is the ratio. You get the ratio dividing by the two numbers. Remember, I'll write that up here. Ratio is taking the second number divided by the first number. So we took -24 divided by 8, the second number and the first number, and got the ratio. And that's what goes in that place. N is just the number you're looking for. So this one, it was, again, it looks like a little typo. That was supposed to be G with a little 10. We're looking for the 10th term in this geometric sequence. So the G comes from the word geometric. Alright, write an explicit equation for each geometric sequence. Explicit is this one right here, so we need to know the first term and we need to know the ratio. So we know the first term is 3. To find the ratio, we're going to take 15 divided by 3, which is 5. Okay? So your equation would be G1, which is 3 times the ratio to the n minus 1. This one specifically wants to know the 10th term, so we'll replace that n with a 10. So 10 minus 1 is 9, so that's what I'm going to type in my calculator. And I can tell you, geometric gets some really big numbers. This one comes out to 5,859,375. So that is the 10th term. Okay, on the next one, this is our first term, our second term, so we need to divide those to find the R, the ratio. Then the equation is G sub n equals the first term, which is 11. And then 4 to the n minus 1. The rate it's changing by. We want to plug in the 10th term. We're looking for 10. And they can ask you for any number. But this one they happen to ask for the 10th term. So again, it's probably going to be a pretty big number. 11 times 4 to the 9th power. 2,883,584. That is the 10th term. So sometimes I write that with a G10 equals, because that was the 10th term in that sequence. Alright, now we're given a table. Remember, a table just means they put the 1 and 2 above it for you. You still have your numbers you're looking at the bottom row. So we need to find our G1 value is the first term. The R value is to take the second term divided by the first term. And now we have to figure out what was that recursive formula. The recursive formula is what we had done on the other side. So I'm going to write that here to the side. Recursive formula is G1 equals the first term, comma, and then they have Gn equals R G to the n minus 1. The explicit formula is so I wrote it in purple, the two formulas, and now I'm just going to fill in the numbers that we have. So our first term, G1 equals -4. And then you G sub n equals R is the ratio here. We have -4 Gn minus 1. So that says you can take whatever the previous term is, times it by -4, get the next term. This formula explicit, the first term, -4. And then we have the R value happen to be -4 also. So this is the way the recursive one looks, this is the way the explicit one looks. Okay, the recursive is like the two-part one. Let's figure out what is the rate that's happening in this one. Let's divide our two numbers. So the second one divided by the first one comes out to 1/2 or 0.5, either way. Calculator will probably give you 0.5, that's okay. So I would say the first term here, remember this is your first term, is 24. And then just fill in these numbers over here. That's from the purple. We have the R goes next. We said the R was 1/2 or 0.5. So that would be the two parts. You have your G1 part, and then you have the equation part. Explicit, your G1 here is 24, and then we said the rate was 1/2 to the n minus 1, or 1/2 0.5 to the n minus 1. So those are the way the geometric, recursive formula, and explicit formula. You will be given both of these formulas on the test or quiz. I guess quiz over this. But you do have to know the two-part one is the recursive one. This one is the explicit one. You have to know, it'll have recursive and explicit blanks. You have to know which one's which out of those formulas.